I wish to welcome everyone and officially declare the meeting open at 9 a.m. But I remind everybody that Council's ordinary meetings are open to the public and are also recorded and available for viewing after the meeting to provide access to all community members. Attendees in the gallery may be recorded. I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians on the land on which we meet, the Mamu people, and acknowledge my respect for their current and emerging elders and those in the dreaming, and thank them for their contributions they have made in building our community. I would like to welcome Pastor Travis Ambrum from Empower Church Innisfail to conduct the opening prayer. Good morning. Yeah, just in that seat there.
Yep. Morning, everyone. Mayor, councillors, public. Just to open in prayer this morning, I'd just like to read a passage from Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 to 10. And Jesus has been asked how to pray. So Jesus responds and says, this is how we should pray. He says, our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. And I just want to say, I think that the greatest way, ultimately the greatest way in which we can live is living the way and the will of God. And I truly believe to experience true love and hope and life is to live out God's will for our lives. And I think I can speak on behalf of everyone that we all love this community. We want to see this region thrive. We want to see families, marriages, children, our schools, marketplace, this council. We want to see this region thrive and healthy and prosper. And I believe that we can see that as we ask and believe for God's will to be done in this region as it is in heaven. So I'd just love to pray. So Father, we thank you for today. I thank you for everyone here, the councillors here this morning. And I just pray that this meeting be blessed, that it would be fruitful, Lord, to see this region prosper and healthy and growing. I believe this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Are there any apologies? No apologies. I'd just like to mention that we have Councillor Alan Jessup on Teamsing in through live stream. Thank you. I now invite those present to use this opportunity to make public any prescribed conflicts of interest or declarable conflicts of interest in respect of the items in the agenda. Do we have any conflicts to declare? Councillor Chewy.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I have a conflict in item 7.1 on the agenda. I am a member of that facility, use it regularly, and I will be leaving the room.
Thank you. Councillor McLeod.
Yes, I would like to declare a prescribed conflict of interest in item 6.5, which is MCU 25/0025, material change of use for dwelling unit, food and drink outlet, cafe and office on land described as Lot 1 on RP 713451 and Lot 810 on I2812, situated at 110 Rankin Street, Innisfail, Queensland 4860. My company, DRM Plumbing FNQ Proprietary Limited, undertakes contract work for Rain and Horn Real Estate, which the submitter is an owner of. And in accordance with Section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I will leave the meeting room and not participate in this item. And also, I need to declare that I have a prescribable conflict of interest in relation to item 10.3, CCW 000301, water mains renewal in Tully. My company, DRM Plumbing FNQ Proprietary Limited, has previously subcontracted services to Far North Plumbing, who is a submitter for this item. And in accordance with Section 150 EQ of the Local Government Act 2009, I will leave the meeting room and not participate in this item also.
Thank you. Are there any further conflicts to declare? Thank you. Read the last bit, actually. Councillors should also use this opportunity to disclose and or comment on other councillors and or staff interests in accordance with the Act and regulations. Item 1.1, minutes of the local government meeting. Now call for a mover and seconded to confirm.
Move is a true and accurate record.
Moved by councillor Baines, seconded by councillor Pervin. Favour? Carried, thank you. Item 1.2, minutes of the special meeting. Have a moved by councillor Chewy. Seconded by councillor Pervin. Those in favour? Favour, thank you. Business arising from the previous minutes. Has anybody got any business arising? Councillor Jessup, sorry.
Yes, good morning. Through the chair, I was just wondering if I've had quite a few residents annoyed at the fact that the pre-cyclone cleanup resolution that we made at last meeting was only including the 4 major transfer stations. So is there an appetite from councillors or council to either amend last month's resolution or at least, or to consider maybe something different for next year?
So when you say amend the motion, the resolution, what are you proposing?
What I've been asked on several occasions is that perhaps if it comes down to a timing issue or a staffing issue for the transfer stations, the smaller ones, is it possible that they could take their pre-cyclone cleanups on days that the smaller transfer stations are operating rather than on weekends?
Well, I think it was much broader than just the staffing issue. I think it was around the cost involved with actually sorting the rubbish that gets brought in and being able to divert some of that from actually going to landfill. But council can, if they wish.
Through you, Chair, I think that the sites are quite constrained and the smaller sites are smaller constrained sites. So the ability to effectively undertake resource recovery through material delivered to those is more challenging. I know some of the smaller sites, our average usage of those sites sits around between 8 and 15 transactions a day when they are open. So again, the recommendation that was made to council around the pre-cyclone cleanup aligned with last year's recommendation, which we saw a significant uplift in usage of those 4 major sites, but we also had the staffing levels and the space at those sites to ensure effective resource recovery. So they were the rationales that were provided in the report regarding pre-cyclone cleanup.
Councillor Pervin.
Council, I think further to that as well, we actually allow white goods this time as well to go as part of the cyclone cleanup, and you know, we're going to be manhandling those quite a few times going from the smaller sites, and I think that was a big issue.
Councillor
Yeah.
Chewy.
Yes,
If I can I just wanted to bring this up to see if there was something else that we needed to add when we're making these resolutions, whether it be in the form of a gift voucher to take to the transfer station or whatever. But it was something I felt that I should bring up because I have been approached by quite a few constituents.
Sure. Councillor Chewy.
thank you. In support of councillor Jessup, I also have had similar conversations, so perhaps it could come back to the table. But could I ask the CEO, I had many phone calls and conversations about an incident at Mission Beach transfer station about cars lined up. I believe there was an incident. Could you just elaborate on what actually happened?
Through the chair, we had a incident with one of our vehicles, one of our hook lift trucks. Some minor damage caused to the hook lift truck, no damage or no injury to public or any of our staff, thankfully. And yeah, that obviously created some staffing challenges getting that facility open. I understand it was open not long after the published opening time, and we had good visitation there. But yeah, due to unforeseen incident, it certainly caused a little bit of scrambling in the morning to make sure that, you know, the site was safe, staff were safe, and we could open that
I
facility.
think, yeah, once I explained to a couple of people that, you know, that it was an accident, and that nobody was hurt, I think they were okay. It was just confusion initially when that.
So going back to your question, councillor Jessup, I certainly think that for the next consideration for next year, we could definitely have some conversations around how we could maybe facilitate that better. But for
Yeah.
this one,
All
I
right,
think
thank you.
being that it's short notice and I think we've got to go with what we've already decided, but I definitely think we can come back to the table and have some conversations around that.
Yeah, I think, well, you know, they're not happy, so we've got to listen to what they're saying.
Through the chair, I can certainly commit that we can bring back some options for council's consideration. As you've suggested, some local governments provide a free tip voucher that can be used at the time and discretion of the ratepayer. That does bring some complexities where they're not often passed on to the person residing in a premise if the premise is leased, but we can absolutely bring those options back in the budget process, so council can make a informed decision about how to deal with some of that hazardous material that comes or needs to be disposed of prior to the cyclone clean.
Thank you.
Any further business arising? Oh, okay. Go to the receipt of minutes. I now call a mover and a seconder to confirm the receipt of the minutes from the Special Audit Committee held 8th of October 2025 and the Economic Leadership Committee meeting held 14th of October 2025, please.
Happy to move.
I'll move.
Moved by councillor Baines.
I'll second.
Councillor Jessup, thank you. Those in favour? Carried, thank you. Move to 4.1, Regional Arts Development Fund, and Ms. Savello will present.
Morning. I'm here today
morning.
to present the report for the Regional Arts Development Fund, RADF Round 1, 2025-2026. The Regional Arts Development Fund is delivered as a partnership between the Queensland Government through Arts Queensland. Round 1 opened on the 25th of August 2025 and closes 28th of September 2025 for local arts projects requesting a maximum of $5,000. Applications are submitted through Council's Smarty Grants portal and are subject to assessment criteria. I refer to Table 1 in your report, a summary information of applications. 5 applications were received, 5 eligible applications, 0 ineligible applications and 1 unsubmitted application. I also refer to Table 2 in your report, the assessment outcome. And the applicant number 1, Catbird Theatre. Applicant number 2, Tully Arts and Cultural Precinct. Applicant number 3, Cardwell UFO Festival. Applicant number 4, Deborah Zaini. Applicant number 5, Eileen Ramage. I just wanted to acknowledge that the Cardwell UFO Festival have been successful in its funding through the Community Grants and Initiatives Round 1 2025-2026 grant, and it has been noted that the eligibility criteria and assessment processes for community grants and Regional Arts Development Fund differ and are administered independently. Resourcing of the RADF funding is provided in Council's operational budget with funding support from Queensland Government. The 2025-2026 operational budget allocation for Regional Arts Development Fund is $41,475. The balance of for round 2 of $20,416.75. So I'll just go to the recommendation. The recommendation is that Council approves the recommendations of the Regional Arts Development Fund Assessment Panel, being the listed projects. Applicant Catbird Theatre for the project Catbird Theatre on Tour, grant funding recommended $3,196. Applicant B, Tully Arts and Cultural Precinct for their project Traditional Printmaking Workshops, grant funding recommended of $5,000. Applicant Cardwell UFO Festival for their project Stories in the Stars, Traditional Owner Astronomy, grant funding recommended $4,000. Applicant Deborah Zaini for the project Form and Fire in Far North Queensland, grant funding recommended $3,220.75. And applicant Aileen Ramage for the project Threads of Community, grant funding recommended $5,000. Recommendation 2, delegating authority to the CEO in accordance with the Local Government Act to finalise any and all matters pertaining to the Regional Arts Development Fund Round 1 agreements.
Mr. Bello, I just wanted to ask, so those that apply for these RADF grants, if they get us successful this year, is there a period of time that they have to wait till they apply for the next round?
Yes, there is. So they had 12 months to complete their projects. So after the end of the project, they've got 8 weeks to submit an outcome report. And once they submit an outcome report, a successful report, they're eligible to apply again in the next round.
Okay, that's not
Yeah, happy to move. And also if I can talk to it. Oh, yeah, it was a great round of RADF applications, and we only have to read the report. We've got theatre, printmaking, sculpture, textiles. It's a really great collaboration of different arts, which is fantastic. And also I was excited to see that the Tully Arts and Cultural Precinct are working with the Masonic Lodge. So we're facilitating that space as well for them to carry on their workshop. The only
Welcome.
the only thing that wasn't eligible was, and there might be maybe some clarification within the application process, is that catering is not included. And I believe a couple of them had added catering to their application, which obviously was not eligible. So maybe there could be some more communication in that respect to start with. Yeah. So it would just save people going out to get a quote when they know they're going to be knocked back in. So yes,
Noted. Thank you.
yeah, so well done to everybody that's applied, and we look forward to seeing these outcomes delivered. So thank you.
Thank you.
Is this better than usual?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I believe
Yeah,
it was a much
yeah.
higher quality of proposed works.
Do you think it might relate back to those sessions that you've been having about helping people to understand what they need to do to actually apply?
Yes, through our community RADF grant information sessions. Yes. Yeah, and we're getting different applicants. It's not the regular same ones that apply. Different projects that haven't been seen in the community before. So it's really good round, this round.
Excellent. Okay, so we've moved by Councillor Chewy,
Second.
Councillor Bain, second. Those in favour? Carried, thank you. 4.2, Cassowary Coast Regional Council Advocacy Plan, and Ms. Mack will present.
Morning. I'm here to present the Cassowary Coast Regional Council 2025 to 2026 Advocacy Plan. Cassowary Coast Regional Council's advocacy is a crucial function that connects our community with various levels of government. By engaging with the community, adhering to governance and compliance frameworks, and strategically advocating for local needs, the Council ensures that local priorities are recognised and supported at state and federal levels. This advocacy helps address our community's unique needs, contributing to sustainable, inclusive and effective local governance and strengthening our communities. Over the past 2 years, the Cassowary Coast Regional Council's advocacy plan has delivered significant outcomes for the community, demonstrating the power of strategic collaboration and persistence. Notably, the Cardwell and Mission Beach medical centres have been successfully kept open, ensuring continued access to vital healthcare services through the implementation of place-based primary healthcare initiatives. Between 2022 and 2024, the Council conducted extensive consultation through the community scorecard process, providing feedback and ideas to guide future priorities. In September 2025, Council facilitated the Cassowary Coast River Improvement Trust meeting to align its priorities with federal and state advocacy efforts, strengthening connections and ensuring cohesive representation in advocacy papers. In October this year, Council officers attended the Cassowary Coast Economic Leadership meeting to determine strength in a drafted plan to ensure the most relevant and prioritised items had been captured. Council's leadership through advocacy and action is dedicated to pursuing new and innovative opportunities. We aim to leverage strategic partnerships and collaborations with all levels of government, community and industry to capitalise on our strategic advantages. We focus on addressing the social, economic and environmental challenges of the Cassowary Coast region, aiming for long-term, inclusive and sustainable socio-economic outcomes through a place-based, community-first approach. Priority items of note in this year's advocacy plan are the Port of Hinchinbrook expansion, skills and training through the Grow Our Own Skilling Queenslanders for Work First Start Queensland program, implementation of the Reef 2050 long-term sustainability plan, River Trust Improvement Trust support in Cassowary Coast, funding for a disaster and evacuation centre in Cardwell, investment in water and sewerage infrastructure networks, funding to support recycling programs and waste harmonisation, cyclone reinsurance pool, light rail from Cairns to Cardwell, feasibility funding, and additional high priorities within the region. The Council is now asked to consider adopting the 2025 to 2026 Cassowary Coast Regional Council Advocacy Plan with the recommendation that Council adopt the 2025-2026 Cassowary Coast Regional Council Advocacy Plan as presented with this report.
Do you have any questions?
Oh, I think it's-
Councillor Littlemore?
Sorry.
Ms. Hack, on page 17 are the additional high priorities.
Correct.
Let me just go to that. Sorry. My computer scrolled past it for me. Over that. It talks about, is it in the last box on the right-hand side? Is that tailored rather than Taylor with an E and no D solutions?
Councillor Littlemore, can you please read out the entirety? Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I think there's a D missing there.
There's a
Should be
typo.
amended.
A typo?
Yeah.
Before publishing, Councillor Littlemore, we will ensure that all typos are identified.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Otherwise,
Right.
I'm happy to move.
Happy to move. Bates?
Happy to second, Madam Mayor, and I'd just like to speak to the forethought and the not bravery, it's just the forethought of the council to keep these advocacy plans in place, look around this work. These are not our only priorities within our region. Of course, people need to understand that. But I've just come back from a reef forum and the conversations over the last 2 days have been around the restricted bucket of money that government has. It's not infinite. Well, it could be infinite, but none of us want to pay more taxes. So we need to keep our controls on that. And I'd like to thank the team and the councillors for agreeing to keep the items at the back are items that we're already advocating for, but we're continuing to advocate for. So, you know, the work around the feral pig control programs, there's the work around connectivity, which we all had conversations with the tech groups, being Telstra or the others, while we're at the LGAQ conference. So it was a great piece. This is a great piece of work, and I commend the council and the team on their efforts putting this together. And as I said, very happy to second.
So probably further to your comment there, Councillor Baines, I also just want to reiterate that just because it's not in the advocacy plan doesn't mean we're not going to advocate for it. So there's lots of other priorities that we do have, but unfortunately we've got to make a document that's probably holds our main priorities, but there are many, many more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Councillor Shuey.
Just following on from Councillor Baines' conversation at the conference as well, waste and recycling was an issue state and have what we can do about it. So collaboration, I think, is going to be very important in that, because If it's an issue, more people there is, the more waste there is, and they have less landfill spaces than what we do. So education is going to be key moving forward, I believe, certainly. So, yeah, well done on the,
Councillor Littlemore.
Thank you, Chair. I'm glad you mentioned that there are other priorities and that council continues to pursue those vigorously. I was just speaking to a resident in relation to the recent Barra Bash at Cardwell, and assured them that we are still pursuing very vigorously the restoration of the waterway and facilities there at Port Hinchinbrook. Just thank you for that comment.
Yeah, I laughed. I had a giggle because I actually fell onto the stage when I was down there. So
Did elbow.
yeah, I did know. Any further comments? So I've had a mover and a seconder. Those in favour? Carried, thank you. Move on to 5.1, financial performance report, and Ms. Straveski will present.
Quietest was Alex. Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Council. The Chief Executive Officer is required by.
Bring out the speaker, please.
Saying hi. The Chief Executive Officer is required by Section 204, subsection 2 of the Local Government Regulation 2012 to present the financial report at a meeting of the local government once per month. The financial report must state the progress that has been made in relation to the local government's budget for the period of the financial year up to a day, as near as practicable to the end of the month before the meeting is held. The purpose of this report is to promote sound financial management and accountability by presenting the Council's financial performance for the year to date versus budget expectations as at the 30th of September 2025. Some highlights. Operational revenue year to date is 50.7 million, which is less than budget by 5.1 million. Operational expenditure year to date is 32.2 million, which is under budget by 395,000. This results in an operational profit for the year to date, 18.5 million, which is lower than budget expectations by 4.7 million. And this is largely due to the prepayment of the 25-26 financial assistance grant, which we've already previously discussed on numerous occasions, and the effect that it had on our budget coming in at when it did come in. Total capital expenditure, including commitments, so far represents 32% spent of the $160 million capital budget. At the end of the month, we've got a cash balance of 78.9 million, which includes 35 million of fixed term investments. I'll go through some of the other aspects of the report, and please feel free to ask questions at any point. Revenue rates. Revenue is 98,000 under budget, and this is primarily due to a greater uptake of the general rates discount. So we make an assumption about how many of our residents will take up the discount. We assumed a bit less. More of them did actually pay in full. So therefore, we've got that variance around under budget there. And we've also got lower than expected sewage charges, but those are offset by higher water consumption revenue that we've got at the moment. Fees and charges. Overall fees and charges revenue is greater than budget by 377,000. And we had about $500,000 of revenue generated in the month of September, which is pretty strong. You can see there building and development application fees are greater than budget by 147,000. And this is really driven by some significant domestic migration that's happening in the region and utilising some of our house and landing building stocks. Transfer station income was 192,000 for the month. Resulting in 528,000 year to date, and this was also higher than expectations. Moving on to interest revenue. So interest revenue was 201,000 for the month, which is pretty good, and year to date interest is 837,000. We are slightly under budget though in terms of what we for interest revenue, and this really is only a basically the timing. So when the bank gives us the accrual notice of what the interest is, it doesn't fit neatly with our end of month. So that's really why primarily driven by that. And we also did issue our rates 1 week later than normal. And this was primarily to make sure that our capping, we did introduce capping this year, so that was significantly more work. So we were delayed issuing our rates notices for the year by a month. Operating grants and revenue, we are under budget, and this is really around the receipt of the financial assistance grant. The under budget revenue is offset by the 2025-6 financial prepayment of 50%, which we've talked about previously. Other revenue, greater than 200K for the year. So we've had some revenue around 19K for boating facilities income, 14,000 in reimbursement of course fees. This is some of the training. 10K reimbursement of showgrounds, electricity usage. Australia Post also gave us a 32K credit where we had been overcharged. And we also had 72,000 for the our funding that facilitates the medical centre that we've established. Sales and recoverables, road maintenance performance contract is under budget by 64,000. This is really just due to the timing of the invoices of when we see the invoices and do those and get payment. Employee expenses, we exceeding budget by 505K or 5%. And this really is driven by the way that we've budgeted. So we have said that we would maintain a 10% attrition rate over the course of the year. And this is, so that is really primarily where that under budget is, exceeding budget, but we expect that that will be become favourable once everyone takes holidays at Christmas time. And also, as you're aware, we will be starting a recruitment freeze for 3 months for the term of November, December, January, and that usually has the effect of bringing that back in line. The other area of that has driven some of the exceeding expenses is really around our variable allowances. And these are things like working in with waste and water sewage and live sewer. We do pay allowances for that fairly unpleasant work. We can't always predict when it happens in the year, and therefore there's some over budget for year to date on the variable allowances. Materials and services are currently under budget by 795,000. It's not unusual for material and services to be under budget so early in the year. And it's primarily due to our DRFA expenditure, and this will be phased, readjusted in VR1. The team are at the moment going through budget review 1, and we will be coming back in November with some recommendations around changing or moving things. Depreciation is under budget by 101K, reflecting calculations based on actual asset register. Asset capitalisation process for 2025 is ready, and it's now really ready to commence. So this is when we normally might have something as an expense while we're building it or developing it, and then it moves to become an asset. So that process will be happening as part of VR1. Capital grant revenue, the following variances relate to grant revenue recognised on carryover projects, but not yet reflected in our budget. So we will move these in VR1. We 10K for works for Queensland, 390K for the Port Hinchinbrook SPS 04 renewal, 1.4 million for Mission Beach CBD revitalisation, and $130,000 for the Reef Guardian. Capital works, we have got a program, as we have said, of 106 million, and that incorporates 415 projects. The teams are making good progress there. We have got 32% of committed 2 months into the year. And just highlighted below there is a number of commitments associated with various different areas in our business as well. Borrowings, we have got about just over $5 million worth of borrowings, and you can see there the amounts and for the remaining years of the term as well. Investment performance, council looks to make investments and earn interest where possible, as there is, as you know, there is 4 months worth that Queensland government says that we must have on call should something happen. But at the same time, we know we've got additional amounts to that. We've got $35 million worth of fixed term investments. We analyse the market and ensure that we can put that money into the best performing institutions at that given time when we're looking to do that. Risks and opportunities there. We do need to deal with the financial assistance grant and the prepayment that occurred in the previous year, because we will continue, if we keep it there, we will continue to be tracking in a way that's not really representative of where we are. There's other things that have decisions that we've made in the last couple of months as well, which will impact things like the shopfront improvement scheme, where we are putting in more money towards. So we will need to do some adjustments there to take into account. Council, that's really the final in terms of this report, and it's recommended that Council receive a note 25-26 financial performance report for September 2025.
That's a little more.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Reski, on page 17 under employee expenses, there are employee expenditure. There are a number of items there: wages, overtime, payroll tax, and other, etc. If we have severance pays, which of those items would be affected? Do you know where that would end up?
Well, we'll put them in. It would be part. Yes, it would be part of wages, salaries, and councillor. We will any severance termination payments or severance payment. We will outline those and specify them in future reports as they come out. Yes, because they do occur.
I'm happy to move that, Chair.
Councillor Jessup.
Yes, good morning. Through the chair, can you tell me what are the interest rates on our fixed loans? What sort of interest are we paying?
Yes, certainly, councillor. They are under the report, under investment performance as at 30. There's a table there that we have. So we have cash on call. So can you see that table? There's a table.
Oh, sorry. No. What? Sorry, not on the fixed term deposits, on the loans that we have, on the borrowings. Yeah.
No, I'd have to get that detail in terms of what we're actually paying interest on those loans. It would be the most competitive interest that we can obtain as council. So I don't have those details right now.
Through you, councillor,
Okay.
they're all through the Queensland Treasury, so we can come back and provide some advice around the rates on those. Just noting, council
Yeah.
only have $5.4 million in borrowings as of September, so it is fairly modest.
Yeah, I get that, but there's still, most of them have got 19 years left on them. So it's just a question. I'd like to find out what it is that we're paying in interest, as to whether or not it would be more beneficial to use some of our fixed deposits and get rid of them.
With the chair, we can bring something back to council's advice. Absolutely.
Certainly, councillor Jessup, we will we'll come back to you with what those interest rates are and what some options may be if council can actually review those. The only thing we do need to be conscious of is that when we do pay out loans in advance of their years, there is unfortunately early termination payments that we would need to consider. So that's the only caveat I would make there.
Thank you. Happy to second.
Anyone else got any comments? I've got a comment. Given that we're only in the first quarter, I also have to point back to the employee expenses, which are over budget. We keep talking about the attrition rate. Are there any other ways that we can work around, maybe trying to better manage the overspend? And should we be relying on the attrition rate alone to see if our overspend is reined back in?
Through the chair, I think probably the clearest answer is that we we don't actually phase that employee expense budget. It's evenly spread across the financial year, which would probably be better represented with some phasing, but typically we are reliant on a council resolution to resolve for our Christmas closure, but the last couple of years that has been consistent. And also, as was mentioned through the report, a management decision to have a freeze on recruitment, typically from November through till February, and this will be the second year in a row we have done that. So I think with whilst budgeting and with some not certainty, but a little bit more clarity that those are normal processes that we could certainly phase, which would mean we phase more of the budget in the first quarter. We would see that drop off because we do have that recruitment freeze and also that Christmas closure period. So we could phase that down and then phase up again into the second half of the financial year. So as we saw last year, we had this same conversation leading into that period that we had over expenditure that was corrected and we were under budget following that freeze in recruitment and the Christmas closure period. We also benefited from the proximity of the Easter break and Anzac Day, where people took advantage of a longer break through that period. But it really is at the moment a phasing issue. And like we said, this year, there's been a stronger focus, particularly on contract labour and reducing contract labour and managing that. And pleasing to see that we're not also compounding that phasing issue at the moment with the salary and wages by bringing in contract labour to compensate. But I'd be monitoring as we move forward the two of those because we don't want to see the contract labour go over budget while we're having our recruitment freeze and that offset
Well, it
any
wouldn't make
benefit.
any sense, would it?
Yep.
And I definitely agree that we need to put things like those, that severance and things like that needs to be in the report so that people can actually appreciate all of what's happening within council. The variants that were in the capital grants where it says, I just want to make that clear that that doesn't mean that the projects are going over budget and we're paying for variances. That's all. I just wanted to make that very clear that those variances don't refer to variances within the project.
And through the chair, some of those programs, particularly Works for Queensland funding, is a 3-year program. So it carries across year on year, but absolutely there's no grant funded projects that are over budgeted that we're seeking. Often where there's an underspend, we might seek to reallocate. And I think the Illuminate Innisfail project that's out to tender, we will bring that back to council, and where we have got some underspend and we've found some of those efficiencies in other Works for Queensland projects, it's absolutely an opportunity for council to decide what they want to see out of that project for the community and potentially reallocate some of that underspend.
Yeah, because some people pick up that one word and then, run with that. Variance usually means plus. So very good. Thank you. So we have a mover and a seconder. All those in favour? Thank you. Move on to cemetery policy. And Miss Stoddard will present. Morning.
Morning. Mayor, morning council.
Morning, Ms Stoddard.
Mr. Baines. The proposed cemetery policy provides a clear framework for the respectful, sustainable and efficient management of cemeteries under the care and control of Cassowary Coast Regional Council. The policy outlines the principles and procedures for the burial rites, interments, monuments and adornments and the cemetery maintenance. It assures that the cemetery operations are conducted with dignity, preserve cultural and historical significance, and align with legislative requirements and community expectations. Adoption of the policy will support consistent decision-making, provide clarity for families and funeral directors, and safeguard cemeteries as an important community assets. The recommendation is that council adopt the policy following a minor amendment to section 10, paragraph 3, which currently reads, council is not responsible for the maintenance of private infrastructure and therefore will not take any action. The responsibility remains solely with the family. To instead read, council is not responsible for the maintenance of private infrastructure. The responsibility remains solely with the family. Thank you.
That's not perfect.
Yeah, through the chair. Just one change I'd like to see in the policy. It's in item 9 in the adornment section. It's just got the word vases. The following items are not permitted on council grave sites. I'd just like to have the word vases removed from that.
Through the chair, is that an amendment, councillor, to the motion to?
Not the policy. Well, the policy, I'm happy with the whole policy, just only the one word in the policy.
Vases not breakable.
Sorry?
Vases I would consider to be a breakable.
It says they're not permitted on council grave sites, so you can't have vases on council grave sites.
Because it's a danger.
What are you going to do? What happens with all those grave sites that have got vases on them? You can't have a vase on a grave site. That's within the policy.
So do you want to propose an amendment?
So I'll propose an amendment to adjust the policy.
Through the chair, you're willing to adopt, but you want a second dot point that would state, remove the word vase from, you just confirm it's on page.
It's page number 4 of the policy.
126.
Following items, it comes under the section 9 adornments.
Just capture it would be a point 2 that would state that the policy be adopted, be amended to remove reference to vases under the items not permitted on council grave sites. And so we just need a seconder if that was, or you'd have to speak to your reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to hear a reading to it.
My reason for it, well, the way the policy is written there, we will not allow a vase to be on a grave site. What more? I don't know how more clear I could be.
Councillor Baines.
So it's actually saying you can't have a glass or a breakable vase.
Says
You could have a vase, yeah, but glass or breakable items.
And then comma, and say vases is separate to glass or.
Yeah, but if it wasn't a glass or a breakable vase, you could have it, is what I'm saying, or receptacle.
No. From what
I'll just see if we've got a seconder.
No.
I'm happy to second that.
Seconded it. Yep. Okay. So does anyone who speak for?
I'll speak for the motion.
Yes.
So my reason for it is, as it's written in the policy there, basically it says, yes, glass or breakable items, comma, vases or receptacles. So you've singled out a vase. You're not saying a glass vase, it's all vases generally.
Correct. I'd have to agree with that.
If it said, sorry, through the chair, if it said, for example, vases and receptacles, then that would be glass and breakables. But as it stands, it looks like it's in addition to glass and breakables.
In the chair, just for a point of, because this might just be an administrative change we can make to the policy. You're saying, if it's a non-breakable vase, you are happy with that? It's
No, I'm happy with any vase, like,
glass vase.
yeah, glass vases. Like, how are you going?
That breaks the,
What do you class as a ceramic one that you pay $600 for from the funeral parlour? That's glass, that's ceramic.
It's breakable.
It's
breakable.
breakable.
That's breakable.
That, you're not allowing it, that's what I'm saying.
But you could buy a metal one.
So councillor Baines.
Oh, back to the, yes, thank you, Chair. So, I mean, I understand the principle absolutely around glass and breakable. I think you have to be very conscious of that. Not all vases are glass and not all vases are breakable. I mean, the glass and the breakable bit, I must stay. If you're concerned about, yes, see, you can't say you can have a vase because you think it's glass. Glass or breakable, in my mind, are the real action words in this space, and that's what needs to remain. And if you buy a metal vase, which you can, yeah, or a plastic vase, plastic still not, but that's an environmental thing for me rather than breakable. But they're probably light and they can fly around. I don't see the point behind not allowing glass or breakable items, but you can have a vase, which is glass. It makes no sense to me.
Sorry, we'll go back to you, councillor Livermore.
I second the motion. That was if you want to speak.
One for, speak for.
Thank you, Chair. Glass vases have been traditional in cemeteries for donkey's years. And I'm just wondering, I understand that if a glass vase breaks, there are challenges with that. I really wonder whether it is over the top to ban glass vases.
I think, sorry, can I speak as well? When we covered there with alcohol, people mentioned stubby bottles and that because somebody might be a Great Northern drinker, but I think just going over the top by saying can't have a glass or breakable vase. I mean, at the end of the day, if we're worried about a whippersnapper breaking a glass vase, it's just as much chance it's going to have with a ceramic vase as well. So you stop it, and I guarantee if you walk past all those grave sites out there, at least 50% of them would have some sort of glass vase on them.
Also, somebody else to speak against.
I'm just confused by them.
Councillor Jessup. Councillor Jessup.
Yes, sorry. I had to find my way back to it. Is it possible to put maybe another dot point somewhere underneath all of that, saying that non-breakable vases are allowed? I understand why we're trying to ban the glass because it's an issue.
Sorry.
Through the chair, I think the current motion that's been seconded states that vases, but
This one vases removed. Word vases in general removed. Just
for clarity, that might leave a little bit of uncertainty where it still says glass or breakable items, and glass vase could still be determined as a glass or breakable. It's just
Take it out then. To me, it's still it still stands.
Same thing.
we make through the chair.
I would just take it out.
I'll take the whole line out.
Having support take vase out doesn't change the context at all.
To me, it does read like that you can't have a vase at all.
Yes, I agree.
That's how I'm reading. Glass or breakable items.
So just through the chair, the officers to enforce that, if there was a glass breakable vase, they would still, it would still be not permitted, just so we said just by.
That's not what I want.
So we just might need just to get some clarity on the motion.
I can't say how, I just,
So I would have to go back to it too, being that this is a traditional thing that's happened for many, many years. I get that broken glass and breakables are, but here we go. We're going to go and say that we can have a plastic vase when we're trying to be sustainable into the future. And I just don't get it either, because what are we going to do? If I put a vase out there that may be made of marble and for some unforeseen circumstance it blows over and breaks, well, it would be my responsibility to remove that, I would believe, because in the policy it says that you're responsible for those things on there. So are you not, if the staff didn't feel like they wanted to go and pick up that broken vase, there's nothing stopping us from sending a notice to the family or the person who's looking after that to say, excuse me, but there's something broken, you need to go and remove it. I just feel that
Very sensitive.
we're getting down into the nitty gritty here. And I think that it's going to be very sensitive, and I'd have to say there wouldn't be too many ones out at the cemetery that didn't have a vase that may be breakable on them. Councillor Baines.
Two questions. Is this policy retrospective? Does this mean we're going to have crew can go out and can now enforce the policy upon items that are already on the graves? Of course you can. Is it? Is that what we're saying?
Yes, through the chair.
Clarification on that. I need from the officers. Thank you, Mayor.
Through the chair, yes.
Okay, that's fine. Second piece, if someone has an expensive urn that they've purchased and it's on their gravesite, and through an accident, it is broken by council staff or people working on site, who ends up liable for that? Is that council? Is that us in the sling? If it's $1,000 vase and it's broken.
Through the chair,
Yeah.
no, it is the responsibility of the family to replace. Council is not liable for the damage.
That's within the policy.
That's written into the policy.
Yes,
So we're
it is.
protected.
Sorry, can I just make, so if we put in there glass or breakable items excluding vases or receptacles.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Yes.
So that means that take cares of any other glass that may be there, apart from a vase or receptacle.
So if you put out a little buffet plate there, that can be removed. But the vases, yeah, leave them.
Do we have to move that as a motion?
If.
Do you want to make that your,
You're trying to make
Yeah.
it, that's the, so the amendment, so
Exclude.
change dot point one under the page four, to
or
glass or breakable items, comma, excluding vases.
Vases or receptacles.
I'm happy to remain seconding to that amendment.
Clarification then, councillor Purvis. So you're happy for people to have vases containing flowers?
Yes.
Don't want to see angels, porcelain teddy bears. That's what you're saying. Take those, because that's glass or breakable items.
Absolutely.
So I'm a little bit confused. And look, it's a very sensitive issue and I completely understand because, you know, everybody has their own personal feelings because of their relationship.
they do.
So I get that. I just need sort of, that I'm a little bit confused by the different messaging, that's all.
Councillor McLeod.
Sorry, through the chair, is there any way that we can bring this back when we're all comfortable with
Yeah, I
it?
think we should, can we defer this?
Apologies for that, but it seems to be a lot of,
I
like
think
a
we
lot
should
of,
defer.
can we defer
Yes.
this to another meeting on?
But I think-
Sorry, but
So it's just dot point one that we,
Actually, it's dot point one. It's dot point one. And yeah, but you've raised that issue about the angels and stuff like that as well. Yeah, it's.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's-
think
yeah.
we'll
So-
leave it on the table.
Be deferred to the next.
I'll move that it be deferred if possible. I apologise, but yeah, I don't think we're going to get to a resolution today.
Those in,
sorry, beg your
those in favour?
Can I also just talk to cemeteries as such, if I may? Not related to this, I'd just like to put it on the record that to avoid all of this situation happening, I'd like the discussion at some stage to come back to a proposal for a memorial garden and the Mission Beach
We're
vicinity.
getting off the track now.
No, I just would like it reported on the
Yeah,
minutes.
no, we're way off
for that
track.
discussion. Thank you.
Okay, general business is
Okay,
probably the
I just
date.
thought as it was cemetery.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So the amended motion just failed because that was on the table.
Have a procedural motion.
It's gone away.
Go on.
I don't think we had a clear,
Their cut.
motion that satisfied the council.
I'm just saying it was moved and seconded, was on the table.
Yep.
That's, so we've just gone away. And
Do we need to, do we need to vote on it?
Yeah, probably should, because I didn't move on the amended motion. Was seconded by Councillor Littlewood. They probably will vote on
Or
that.
do we just defer?
Does the procedural motion supersede the amendment? I think it does.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. So I think we're right.
Yeah.
No one's going to fine us over it.
Just clarification.
Yeah, thank you.
Was on the table.
So we're all happy that we've
Heard it.
that on the table still. Okay, we'll go to 5.3, adoption of annual report and audited financial statements, and CEO will present.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, Section 182 of the Local Government Regulations 2012 requires the council to adopt an annual report within 1 month of the audit opinion being signed. The signed audited financial statements are dated the 14th of October 2025. The annual report contains council's audited financial statements for the 24-25 financial year, together with other reportable information that provides an overview of council's operations. Each year, council adopts an annual report. The annual report contains council's financial position, our performance, how we're implementing our corporate and operational plans, as well as a number of other issues of public interest which are specified in the legislation. The report must be adopted by council before being published, and under Section 182 of the Local Government Regs, council is required to adopt its annual report as stated 1 month after the Auditor General gives the audit report regarding council's financial statements for the financial year to the local government. The annual report demonstrates how council's progressed its actions of the corporate plan 21-25 and provides service delivery highlights. It's one of the many ways council connects with our community, show council's commitment to achieving our vision for the region, and to communicate what we deliver for our residents and demonstrate our effectiveness as their council. The consolidated financial statement is included in the annual report. They're audited by the Queensland Audit Office to confirm the results presented are true and fair and in accordance with the Local Government Act and regulations and the relevant Australian accounting standards. The financial statements were presented to and reviewed by the Audit Committee before certification by the Mayor and CEO and submission to the QAO. The annual report reviews in detail council's financial and operational performance for the 24-25 financial year against the goals set out. Council finished the financial year 24-25 with a surplus net result of 20.5 million. After excluding capital items, the resulting operating deficit was 2.1 compared to 8.7 in 23-24. Council continues to maintain a healthy cash and investment position, finishing the year with a total balance of $70.5 million, comprising 50.5 million in cash and 20 million in investments. An unmodified audit opinion was issued confirming that the financial statements are materially correct. A true and fair view of council and the consolidated financial position at 30 June 2025. And the financial performance and cash flows for the year then ended. Additional information is provided in the financial statements and community financial report included as an appendix and as part of the annual report. It's important to consider the long-term financial objectives of council and other measures that reflect council's commitment to operating in a prudent manner while maintaining its financial management objectives, including the maturity of council's asset management functions, debt levels in comparison to the size and value of long-life income-producing assets, and council's ability to maintain adequate service levels. They're happy to take any questions on any of the attachments. There is a recommendation there that council receive the audited financial statements for the year 24-25, adopt the annual report for the 24-25 financial year, and receive and note correspondence from the Queensland Audit Office in relation to the 24-25 annual audit final management letter.
Yep, I am seeking clarification to page 33 of the Audit Committee report under transactions with related parties, materials and services. There is an entry relating to a councillor, and I need to satisfy my need to be fully informed should I be questioned on this. I have sought advice from the governance advisor, and I'm seeking, as I said, clarification around what processes have been followed and documents that we have recorded for these transactions.
Sorry, page 33
of the
annual report.
Audit Committee. Yes.
Through the chair, KMPs or key management personnel are people that have the authority and responsibility for planning, directing and controlling the activities of a local government, either directly or indirectly, and usually include the mayor, councillors, CEO and senior executives. So you're referencing at the moment is in regard to Councillor McLeod, who has declared and is published in that report a plumbing business, DRM Plumbing, which operates in the Cassowary Coast. I think you'll see today Councillor McLeod has declared a prescribed conflict of interest in a number of matters where that business that she is a director of interacts from a financial point of view with other businesses where decision making is required. I understand that DRM Plumbing is on our ROPS, which is a register of providers, and our internal operational teams will access different contractors from our ROPS depending on the scope of work and the availability of contractors. So for any procurement activity, there is a procurement policy that is put in place. If there are any conflicts of interest, should Councillor McLeod have a relative that worked within council, they would need to declare that conflict and demonstrate through that conflict of interest how we would manage that conflict of interest, and any management around that would involve that individual not being involved in any procurement activities that were associated or any activities associated with evaluating procurement activities from the councillor's business. I'm not aware of any conflicts of interest that have been raised internally with regard to that. It's not to say there isn't a conflict of interest, but if there was, those individuals haven't been required to declare that because they're not involved in the procurement of plumbing services internally. So it's absolutely not unusual for councillors to have small, medium enterprises outside of council, or to be employed or to have family employed in small and medium enterprises which undertake work for council. Legislatively, it is only a requirement that they're not employed by the local government. So whilst they're in office.
So because we're not privy to what the jobs were or what they pertain to, did they go out to tender? Were they EOIs? Like, how do we satisfy ourselves that the procurement process that has been undertaken in these situations,
So
what do we get to see?
through the chair, the ROPs are put out for tender. The value of the works, obviously, that has been undertaken with VRM Plumbing are well below a tender threshold. They're certainly considerably below that 200,000 tender threshold that council have. They are obviously engaged through the ROPs. The ROPs and those individuals on the ROPs are endorsed to be on those ROPs through a council resolution. Where DRM Plumbing is a part of those ROPs, the councillor would declare a conflict of interest and leave the room and not be part of that decision making. So this council has resolved to put a number of contractors across a number of different trades onto that contractor's ROPs, and then officers through our procurement policy will engage effectively through that endorsed group of ROPs. Through the ROPs, we've got rates and the activities that those businesses undertake, and officers will typically look at value for money with those local contractors based on the rates they've provided for certain activities or the activities that they can provide. For example, not every plumbing business will do roof work. Not every plumbing business that does roof work will do domestic or larger fitting works. So, for example, today where we have a local plumbing business that has tendered, the councillor has declared a conflict of interest, a prescribed conflict of interest, because their business has interacted with that business. Should there be a larger water main project which has, larger fitters operating rather than discrete plumbers, then I would imagine that the councillor would seek advice, but likely not declare a conflict of interest because they're not, unless they were subcontracting to any of those companies.
So if the question comes to me and somebody says, well, I used to do work for council and now I don't get any work, and they're pertaining to the sensitive fact that now that somebody is in council and they happen to have a business which is acquiring that work, how do I explain that?
So through the chair, at any point they can contact council. They can touch base with council's procurement team. I know that I've certainly had businesses not in the plumbing side, but through the civil side, make contact with council when we've reviewed the rates for those businesses that have made a similar statement with regard to the civil side of contracting. Their rates have been considerably higher. So like any tendering process, council is looking for value for money. So officers will typically make a decision based on the rates provided by the contractor or the availability. So if they go to one and they're unavailable, they'll then go to another that may have a slightly higher rate as well. But yeah, through that process, council's seeking value for money. Again, I'll probably preface that with trades at times, whether it be electrical or plumbing trades. Some we all procure that sort of activity for our own homes. Yeah, some electrical contractors might do a job in 2 hours. Some might do it in 1 hour, just based on their efficiencies as well. So certainly, when we do go out for tenders, we're looking at, prior experience, value for money, and the key personnel that those businesses offer.
So those key personnel would then have to be asked if they are conflicted
So
or have any conflict
key personnel in the contractor, but any officer undertaking a procurement activity would
Yeah.
have to declare a conflict of
Okay.
interest. So,
All right,
Yeah.
very good, thank you.
so as stated, if Councillor McLeod had a closely associated person that worked within council, they would have to declare that, and they would that would come with a management arrangement,
What did you call that person? A close?
closely associated
Oh,
person.
Okay,
So, I
closely
mean,
associated person, okay, thank you.
could be a direct family member, it could be a business partner, someone with, where there's a financial,
Councillor Baines?
I understand the premise of your question. I mean, the point of this report is to make this sort of stuff absolutely transparent.
That's it.
And
Absolutely, that's
and-
why I asked.
And that's why it's there, but you also, because this is not the first council that I've had this conversation in, by the way. There were other councillors who had businesses that
Yeah.
were related and they got the work. And had everything to do with the protections in the procurement policies and the way that works and the value for money. It had nothing to do with positions. I think having this exhibited is a great way for you to say, this, we are recognising this, it is in there, but people don't get work just because they always have had work before. And I will say the ones that generally come forward and say there's work going to a related business are the ones who may not be getting the work
Absolutely.
anymore purely for financial and procurement reasoning, not for anything that's untoward. So
Absolutely understand, but then there are also those who have had work for many, many years before, and all of a sudden it dries up. So I've got to be informed in case I get asked a question.
So aren't we better off asking why that work has dried up or why they failed in their procurement piece? Or,
through the chair, please direct them to our procurement team, and we could absolutely have that conversation. Whilst we can't share the rates of their competitors, we can certainly identify if their rates are uncompetitive. And when we go through that additional ROPS, it does provide for council some value for money if our contractors, and we've got consultants as well on those ROPS, are sharpening their pencil and providing their best rate.
So that would now mean that anything that has to do with any sort of a plumbing issue would, Councillor McLeod would be likely to have to leave the room.
Through the chair, those items where Councillor McLeod's business was intending to tender. So, and maybe it's best if I don't use the specifics, but if the councillors, if a councillor has a business and that business is intending to tender for something, then any councillor information sessions on that matter, they should identify that there will be a conflict of interest there and remove themselves from those information sessions, so they're not getting information that might assist them in any future
Yeah,
tender
but
process.
even if they're not going to tender for that particular job or whatever, if they're in that conversation, they're really going to pick up things like what the current price range is or things like that, which also could be perceived as a conflict.
It's confidential what happens in this room.
Absolutely.
Go no further
Through-
in this room.
Absolutely.
Through the chair, the ROPS absolutely have a list of rates. Those ROPS rates are not available, as far as I'm aware, to councillors, unless anyone's found a loophole that we should be closing, but the rates aren't available to councillors for that reason. But Councillor McLeod, if tendering, would remove herself so that information isn't required. If Councillor McLeod was to put in a request for information or for information relating to that would obviously be assessed as misconduct.
Absolutely.
No worries. Thank you.
Through the chair, there was a recommendation there. Would you like me to read it out again? It was
You
just
did
that,
read it, yeah.
council received the audited financial statements for the 24-25 financial year, adopt the annual report for the 24-25 financial year, and receive a note correspondence from the Queensland Audit Office in relation to the 24-25 annual audit final management letter.
Councillor McLeod?
Through the chair, so the audit committee found since we have all that, they found no issues with that at all.
Through the chair, it is.
Want to make that very clear that the audit committee found no issues with myself.
Through the chair, the QEO come in and they've engaged auditors to go through. They look at our procurement activities. They sample those. They will look at all of our financial activities. They are here for a week. They go through the books with a great level of detail. Again, this year we've got an unmodified audit opinion. There was one, we'll call it a deficiency. It's defined as deficiency found, but that wasn't identified through an issue. It was purely that there was a suggestion there that council could look at the logs of our administrators within our Tech One system and undertake more regular review of the logs to ensure that there is nothing untoward there. They found nothing, but it is the opportunity for auditors to present to council opportunities for improvement and best practice, and absolutely we will take that on board and put additional processes in place. We all know that cybersecurity in particular at the moment is one of the greatest risks to business and local governments.
Thank you. Councillor Jessup.
Yes, I sat in, pardon me, on quite a few of the audit reports and things that the meetings that was held. I think that I am very happy to move this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jessup. Councillor Baines.
Very happy to second. I've been involved in the audit committee since 2018. We keep getting these unqualified reports and audits. It's an astounding piece of work. I'd like to congratulate the team, congratulate the councillors. I want to commend you, Councillor Jessup, because you do come along. It's not one of those things that a lot of people see as a fun thing to do. It rolls, but I think an important part of the conversation we've just had is that is why all these controls are in place.
Absolutely.
Maybe we do a little bit of a re-education piece on our procurement policies so we can inform residents who may come to us with questions or egregious allegations, because that happens as well.
Yeah, well, that's all right. So, look,
But we need to address that.
Wrong, but it's my duty to actually clarify it if I've got
Nearly finished.
If I've got something to
Yeah,
that
I'm
I don't
almost
think
finished.
is
Because
Yeah.
this very report is the reason you can say this is how it's controlled. We know this. So,
Yep, and I was there too.
so happy to second me.
Yep, you seconded. Yep. So what you got to understand, Councillor McLeod, is that I've got to make sure that I've got all my points clarified, whether it's been to the audit committee or whether it's been wherever it's been, that I can satisfy myself that if somebody comes and asks me a question, that I can clearly answer that question without any hesitation and thinking that and knowing for sure that we have covered all grounds. So that's why I asked the question.
It's also probably a question we could have asked in the final meeting of the audit committee while we were preparing.
Well, I could have, yes, could have.
Would have
Absolutely.
been a more appropriate place for the question.
There's no, what's the hassle with me asking it?
I'm not
here,
saying it's
Councillor
hassle,
Baines?
but could have asked it.
Well,
Yeah.
I've asked it right here and right now and it's clarified, so let's move on. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Move to 5.4, operational plan, and Mr. Gruffin will present.
Through you, Chair, Council adopted its 25-26 operational plan on the 25th of June 2025. The operational plan outlines the activities undertaken during the 25-26 financial year, which contribute to the achievement of the strategies outlined in the corporate plan. Council's integrated corporate plan 25 to 2030 outlines Council's long-term vision, strategic priorities and objectives set out and sets up the services, initiatives and key projects to be delivered over the next 5 years to meet the need of our community. To support delivery of the corporate plan, Council adopted the Future Strategic Planning Framework, a robust and integrated approach designed to strengthen community engagement, transparency and accountability. The operational plan outlines how Council will put into action the priorities identified in the 25 to 30 corporate plan over the year ahead. By bringing these initiatives together in a single document, Council can clearly communicate to both the community and staff the key areas of focus for the year. The operational plan 25-26 aligns with our annual budget, outlines how we'll manage operational risks and tracks our progress towards the goals set out in the 5-year corporate plan. The activities and actions within this operational plan are directly aligned to the outcomes and objectives of Council's corporate plan 25 to 2030. That is healthy communities, livable places, sustainable environments, thriving economy and good governance. I might just touch on a few of the outcomes that we've seen in the operational plan after this first quarter. So under healthy communities, we have the RADF guidelines were reviewed and still present the best local project outcomes. As we saw today, the first round was presented to council today, and some really great local outcomes there and diverse outcomes as well. Under number 10, we sought to deliver youth sport and recreation programs, including the tilapia fishing competition and the sports bursary awards. The youth sports bursary awards have been completed, and the tilapia tournament held the 2nd and 4th of October was another great success. A great way to get community out to Warina Lakes. There's been a lot of investment in pump tracks and nature play in that area. But also a way to control an invasive species that live in those waters. We also held the Senior Expo in September under that action. Under livable places, number 37 was the Illuminate Cassowary Coast project delivered in Banyan Park and Innisfail CBD. So that one is for Q2, but worth noting it's currently out for tender. We had a site briefing with contractors yesterday, absolutely encouraging all local contractors, electrical contractors, preferably not plumbing contractors, to tender for those works. We are looking to bring that back to council in line with the Q2 recommendation and to deliver that Illuminate project as council see fit. Item 24, review design following community consultation to ensure that the Bowen Street Cardinal is fit for purpose. The Mayor hit the road with our director and have undertaken some community consultation directly with those individuals that live on Bowen Street. That at the moment starting to influence some considerations around the design of the Bowen Street project. I think the Mayor, there were some different feelings out there in the community and certainly some opportunities to refine the design of that project to provide a more fit for purpose and potentially economic delivery of Bowen Street. Number 26, and look, I have to reflect on Cassowary Coast Regional Council 4 years ago, very against the sealing of unsealed roads and not progressing with any unsealed roads. Great to see this one, the TC Jasper and associated flooding betterment funding. Whilst that funding amount from QRA has come in slightly, we have a report going to council today to prioritise those projects following Granadilla and Jubilee Road. So it would be great to see some sealing of our unsealed roads, both for road users. We also know the impact that sediment runoff from our roads has on the Great Barrier Reef. Item 27, look, Council's transport asset is our largest asset class. We've got over 1,200 kilometres of roads in the network. All of our residents at some point use our roads. The adoption in July 24 at the LGM of Council's Transport Asset Management Plan is a huge step forward. It provides a lot of confidence that Council have the required funding allocated to maintain our road network, and that's a 10-year view of that asset. So more importantly, that project was internally delivered as well. So great to be growing our own, one of our values with those internal staff that have delivered, what is an excellent transport asset management plan. 30 was to our annual boat ramp maintenance programs made publicly available. They are now published. The team are getting to those boat ramps through that program regularly. We've certainly seen a decline in both complaints about boat ramps as well as a decline in slips, trips and falls in that space. We move into sustainable environments, 46. Assist with updating of local laws. This will be an interesting one to bring back to council, but we're currently out for consultation, particularly around local law number 3. And we've had over 140, I think, at last count submissions. So great to see the community engaged in that local law and taking some interest.
I need to encourage them. It's good.
Item 48, again, council's investment in oversight over feral pigs. We know what impact feral pigs are having on our primary producers in the region. They're moving into peri-urban areas of our region as well. We have been regularly leading that feral pig executive oversight committee. We've got an aerial culling program that has been coordinated and planned for November 25th. Terrain NRM funding has been utilised to even expand our own internal pig trapping program. So having that coordinator's role full term, thanks to council and Terrain NRM, has meant that we're having a lot of success actually capturing and removing some of those trouble pigs, particularly from trouble areas that are impacting both primary production or our urban areas. 57 community engagement activities successfully delivered with strong participation. So the community engagement activities are ongoing through diverse channels, including print, radio, social media. This relates to our recycling behaviours. I have to say the JJ's, our contractors, they have a good system where they can actually identify bins where there's high contamination. We still had over 728 bins contaminated in October. So we will be talking to council as we move forward about opportunities to undertake some targeted either enforcement or education. So we know the properties, we've got the pictures of the bins, we can go and do some targeted education in that space to adjust that.
Yeah. First.
Thriving economy, I just touched on 69 construction activities completed for the Mission Beach Town Centre is the action. I'd like to just again thank our residents and the business owners down in Mission Beach for their patience. I think the lights going down, the completion of Porter Promenade in that aspect has been a huge milestone. Seeing the arbour structures start to go up and some of the trees go into that precinct, it really starts to paint the picture of how that is coming together. Practical completion is still intended to be seen prior to the Christmas shutdown period this year.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I'll just touch on the good governance. So number 75, endorsement and publishment of council's forward procurement plan. Over $100 million in capital projects, as well as our operational procurement. That forward procurement plan is published. This gives contractors, local contractors in particular, the opportunity to see what work is coming up and make sure that their resourcing, particularly with regard to their ability to tender for these works, can be timed and planned. So that is available on council's website. The first quarter review is completed and attached. There are 3 initiatives officers are requesting amendments to, and the following initiatives are number 31, which is deliver an upgraded car park and launching facility at Curramine Beach boat ramp upon completion of the DTMR works. Well, DTMR are advising that the boat ramp completion is not scheduled to start until the post the 26 wet season. So officers are requesting we can't undertake those works until the boat ramp is in place, requesting to remove the initiative, and we'll bring it back into the 26.
Could you repeat that again?
So the delay, DTMR are delayed in delivering that, and it's not anticipated that the boat ramp construction works will commence until post wet season 2026. So those works will take a considerable period of time to resolve, and
Thank you.
we're suggesting that we are best to shift our works, the car park works, back into 26, 27 to align with that.
Absolutely.
Through the chair,
Sorry,
but
councillor.
That's okay, but, and I completely understand this sits back with DTMR, but I just want to ensure the community that it is not off the table. I know our project team are already liaising with members of the community on the best way to create the car park, the most efficient way. Conversations have been had. So while it has been, the postponement has got nothing to do with us. It sits with DTMR and the construction of the ramp, and we will follow our what we need to do following what they start, then they do what they need to do. Is that correct, Mr. CEO?
Absolutely. There's no point constructing a car park and line marking
Yes.
and bring machinery over the top to
Exactly.
construct a boat ramp.
I know community are very excited. People have been down there measuring the site already. So, there is works happening. It's just taking longer than we anticipated. And can I just say, let's hope we do get a little bit more wet season, but everything's so dry. Just right by. Thank you.
But you,
Oh, sorry, just
Yeah,
initiative
more.
52, managed stormwater infrastructure. So we had that initiative to develop functional models to access the feasibility and develop conceptual designs for flood mitigation measures.
Mhm.
We're just suggesting to move that to Q4. So our team have been very busy dealing with specific issues and they relate to problems on Marillion Road, down in Cardwell, in Mission Beach. So we have been looking at specific drains where we have concerns and trying to resolve those concerns prior to the wet season. The teams that have been working on individual resolutions, you'll see at the moment, I think out the back of the Seafarer drain in Mission Beach, works are being undertaken down on Roma Street, Gregory Street. Drainage works down there have been completed as well. So we're just proposing to push the broader model and modelling into Q4. That may be influenced again by any empirical data we get through the 25-26 wet season. And the last one's just initiative 61. So the successful delivery of the local business awards, with council's approval, those have been shifted to May 2026. So it's just suggesting that we move the dot from Q2 to Q4 to align with the date and the proposed date of the local business awards, which will be delivered in May 2026. There is a recommendation there. It's that the quarterly review of the 25-26 operational plan to 30 September 2025 be received and the requested changes approved. Any questions?
Councillor Baines.
I'm happy to move the recommendation. Yeah, I just would like to speak to item 48, which is the Feral Pig Executive Oversight Group and council's work around with the feral pigs. I will commend the staff and the team on the aerial culling program that's coming forward. The trapping numbers are definitely up. I know there has been some contentious items around the 1080 process, but I do believe that has now come to a very positive resolution for everyone, that will be being run by a private contractor. And just as a bit of being a little frivolous, I suppose, Mayor, but and I know it's not a competition, but I'll say there was 4 councillors coming home from some QTC training up in Cairns a week or so ago, and we saw a mob of pigs in a paddock north of our border.
I've got them at home.
It's north of our border. But, so I'd say we're doing quite well in that space. So but again, happy to move this motion.
Moved by
To
Councillor
recommendation.
Baines. Any,
Through the chair, just to add to that, I guess I highlighted that council and Terrain NRM have been funding that feral pig coordinator. Yes, it would be great with the anecdotal data and the real data we're receiving from primary producers around the cost to primary production industry that we go and seek some contributions again from industry to, because the terrain funding isn't assured. Council have put that position in for 3 days a week, but it is delivering real outcomes. We can count the number of pigs. We can put a value to that, but it would be great to see industry contribute.
so has industry made any comment around that it is working? Like, have they really come forward and said that this is a positive initiative and that it is helping with the eradication of them, or?
That's from my conversation.
Yeah.
I would suggest not 100% of the growers may be coming forward with positive comments, but I am receiving a vast majority of positive comments.
Okay, so it's not, well, my thinking is that if they're passing off positive comments saying that this is a great thing, well, it's about time that they put their hand in their pocket and contribute. It's, it's benefiting their industry and their livelihood. That's right.
I agree. I agree 100%. But that is
something that we have to work on into the future.
Through the chair, the aerial shoot's a good example of that. If that aerial shoot was just funded by banana growers, you shoot a couple and they move into a cane paddock, you can't shoot there. It has to be an overarching coordinated approach, which is what this role is looking to achieve.
And just one more item, because there's several pieces around drainage and stormwater management. I'm sure all the staff are aware that the draft water quality plan has been released by the state for comment. The conversations around the 30-day period, but they're trying to get this done really quickly. So I would encourage anyone within council and the organisation as well to have a read, get on there, make some comment. And I don't think it will affect any of our programs, but it might be something we need to consider under this draft. And
Well, I hope they're not coming up with any more fancy ideas.
have a read. It's a
Fish
great read.
ladders and
Our fish
that
ladders are there.
actually does really affect the way that we are able to do things and the affordability of what we can do.
There's other ways of managing that which are being dealt with by the department and their relevant ministers. So
Through you, Chair, if I can just add to that, what are we doing in that drainage space? So it's great that the work at Silkwood and Marillion has been completed through the Cassowary Coast River Improvement Trust, where our teams are out there at the moment ensuring that all of our high and critical drains are clean and the pre-wet season works are doing. And really excitingly, the sensor project, I have had confirmation. He may not like me making it public because he'd probably prefer to under promise and over deliver, but the sensors, as far as the heights, will be available on our dashboard prior to the wet season is the commitment we've had. So we won't use this wet season to again continue to calibrate, and then next wet season the ability to push messaging out based on the heights will be there, but at least be able to see with the sensors on our dashboard when things are starting to rise. We've heard the concerns around where Bomb's new website. That will be a point of truth where you can see how they're.
I'm getting very positive feedback anyway. So further to that, we had that meeting with the roads group this week. Was that this week? That we mentioned again, you know, that we're looking at priorities.
Yeah.
So talking about drainage, and we really are pushing the drainage issue down at Cardwell to, you know, the main roads issues that are north and south of Cardwell. So, yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, having a second. Also, just, it was great as Mr. CEO pointed out, the drainage at Seafarer Street. The trucks have been there, I think, now for 2 weeks, so really doing a great
So,
job.
Chair, I cannot hear.
I beg your pardon, sorry. I was just happy to second the motion. And also just acknowledging that the work's being done at Seafarer Street. There, the trucks have been there for about 2 weeks with council staff clearing, and the local community are very happy and relieved to see that, because that did have a huge, a big impact from that event, which I know was a 100 years, but still it was great to see. So thank you for that.
Further comments? I just wanted to ask, could you clarify where they can find that boat ramp maintenance program? Is it just on our council website, or where should they look?
It's on council's website. I think if you went to the search aspect there and put boat ramp in, it would come up, but we can certainly provide you clarity around that at the next meeting on the link, share that.
And I did notice under number 43 was EV charging stations, and the addition, and I see that it's a new item that they're going to be put in. I understand that they're not going to be paid for by council, but is that insinuating that we're going to be purchasing electric vehicles if we're putting them in at our council facilities?
Through the chair, we have hybrid vehicles in the fleet at the moment. We don't have any plug-in hybrids. The recharging stations are fully funded by the Reef Guardian councils. At this stage, we've got a policy that council operate under, but it's not to say that council in the future wouldn't amend or adjust policy in that space. I think we had a conversation particularly around the ethical sourcing of lithium, and I will note a number of suppliers now are able to demonstrate the pathways and where they're sourcing that lithium from.
I mean, I would have done.
We're not going to, wouldn't.
sorry, now I can't hear you.
I said if nobody pushed those suppliers, if everybody just let it go, they wouldn't have taken that step of giving us the assurance of where the product comes from.
Yeah.
Oh, it went away.
Oh, I must have just bumped the, sorry. Yeah, it's all back. Thank you. Sorry.
Well, and with your indulgence, in the utmost respect, I mean, I will suggest that, again, at the conference, and I think CEO and the Deputy Mayor were hosted by Gold Coast Council around some of their effective items of plant that can be used, and some of these are electrically based and they can be charged up in those exact same processes. So thinking, and I'm not preempting a decision of council and procurement into the future, but I mean, having the opportunity, there's a lot of stuff coming forward now that with sustainably sourced lithium and rare metals, I think we had a conversation, you know, the use of these electric items are part of the future. So
Like
having ourselves,
thing like a blower or a.
I'm not suggesting anything at all, but there are pieces of plant
Self pop-up toilet.
yeah, that will that use exactly the same principles.
Yep.
And we have the benefit of this is money that came out of the federal funding for reef guarding councils, and we should be using it to our utmost ability and have them in place. So
For clarity though, there is no budget at the
no,
moment
I
to
didn't say there
purchase
was.
an EV.
Okay, thank you.
But some of the technology, particularly in emergency situations, I know the Rangers now have can effectively operate as a generator. So if they were to be deployed during a emergency situation, like we saw down in Carville last year, you could plug your Starlink into a utility. It operates off the batteries. When the batteries start to go low, the engine kicks in and recharges. So there's some interesting new technology coming out there that obviously we'll continue to explore as it develops.
Yeah. Any further questions or? Right, so those in favour? Harry, thank you. Move on to 6.1.
Chair, could I request a short recess?
I was going to do that after the next item. Can we just do the next item or? Okay, we'll just call it.
Sorry, before we go, can I just make a clarification? At the beginning, I said I had a conflict with 6.5, but there was a late report. It's actually 7.5, not 6.5 because the numbering.
Okay.
Sorry, I just want to say that before we go into 6. So yeah, next few minutes it's 7.5.
Okay, well, let's go to a break. Thanks. Roads and Mr. Goodman will present.
Thank you, Mayor. Firstly, can I just thank Council for receiving this late report. The outcome today, hopefully, will assist in delivering some key capital projects and one of our significant operational plan initiatives that Mr. Graffin was touching on the previous report. In August 2024, Council adopted a road upgrades policy. Within that assessment, there's a weighted assessment methodology for whole of life cost benefit, 45% of the assessment, traffic volume being 20% of the assessment, safety 15% of the assessment, environmental benefit being 10%, and sequential staging being 10%. Subsequently, Council resolution in November 2024 committed to 3 projects, 2 of those being on Grenadilla Road and 1 on Jubilee Road. This resolution also adopted a shortlist for future consideration. Queensland Government established a $130 million betterment fund available to 18 eligible local government areas impacted by Tropical Cyclone Jasper. Cyclone Jasper was impacts 13 to 28 December 2023. It's a jointly funded initiative. Event damaged assets in local government areas activated under the disaster recovery funding arrangements for Category B assistance were eligible under this fund. The objectives of the betterment fund are to restore essential public assets damaged in events to a more resilient standard, so that infrastructure and communities are more resilient to future disasters, so future costs associated with disasters are reduced, to address Queensland's assessed natural hazard risks and in alignment with National Strategy for Disaster Resilience and the Queensland Strategy for Disaster Resilience objectives of strengthened disaster risk management and investment in disaster risk reduction. Council made applications for this fund utilising the shortlist of projects that was identified in the Council resolution of November 2024. Subsequently, Council has received $2.272 million in betterment funding that can be utilised on those two roads that council had already committed to, Granadilla and Jubilee Road. In addition to that, Schuylkill Road, Hernan Road and Warrabullen Road. It's important to note that council will have to provide $1.49 million of its own funding to deliver these projects. There is flexibility for council to shift funds and amend scopes, subject to demonstrating that council's contribution is not reduced. It's also important to note that these works must be completed by June 2026 to acquit the betterment funding. Given that the Granadilla Road and Jubilee Roads have already committed to, council has already committed to deliver those works, important to then prioritise the remaining projects on Schuylkill Road, Warrabullen Road and Hernan Road. Council officers have previously undertaken assessments, and that was presented in November 2024 to council with ranked scores and in accordance with policy. Those scores from November 2024, there are two separate projects on Schuylkill Road and Warrabullen Hernan Road. It's important to note that while the second section of Schuylkill Road scored 67, that is because of the 10% that's associated with sequential staging. And so if Schuylkill Road section 1 is sealed, the updated score for Schuylkill Road section 2 would be 77, and so that is the basis for which our recommendation is provided today. Councillors, the recommendation today is that council identify the following project sites in priority order for the balance of the betterment funding associated with Tropical Cyclone Jasper. 1, Schuylkill Road, 0.05 to 1.400 kilometres. 2, Schuylkill Road, 1.4 to 2.5 kilometres. 3, Warrabullen Road, 0.58 to 1.36 kilometres. And 4, Hernan Road, 1.96 to 2.67 kilometres.
Councillor Littlemore.
Through the chair, Mr. Goodman, is it anticipated that the funding will be insufficient to do all of those 4?
Through the chair, it is. We will hopefully be able to provide much better advice on what we expect these projects to cost within the next month. My advice to you now is that I would expect 2 of the 4 projects to be able to be delivered, but also hopeful that we, through the procurement process that we're going through, that we'll see better rates than we've been able to achieve in the past, and certainly possibility to undertake additional works.
Thank you.
Councillor Purvis. Sorry, I got you next. Councillor Jessup.
Councillor Jessup.
Councillor Jessup.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair. Mr. Goodman, the scores given for this recommendation are reflective of the 2024 numbers, correct?
Chair, yes, that's correct.
For the score, yeah. So the council's resolution to commit to deliver Granadilla and Jubilee roads in 2024, the score for those roads, do you know what they were? Actually, I have them here anyway, so it doesn't matter. So they were in the 80s. And there is other roads that are still in the 80s. Have they changed at all, those scores?
Through the chair, no, those scores haven't changed. The reason that we're bringing some projects here back to council, which are not in sequential order for that priority scoring that was done then, is that this is where the funding is available from the QRA. So I believe from recollection, one of those ones that you would be looking at is Barrett's Lagoon Road. And potentially Ranch Road as well. Those projects were considered, and we certainly looked at all of these projects with our project managers, and they were in the list that was not funded through the QRA for betterment. So we're only bringing at this stage those projects that the QRA agreed to provide betterment funding for.
You understand, councillor Jessup?
Yeah, I'm glad I asked the question, because further on to this, that it says here that all roads assessed are representative in the table given. However, it's not recommended to utilise this assessment in future works for those section of road that have scored less than 75, and looking at the roads that you are now recommending, only one of them meets that criteria. Well, two of them meet the criteria of 75 and 76, but that's where I was going with this. I just couldn't understand why you weren't recommending the next highest scores.
So you're happy with that it's QRA that sort of made the decision for us, really, because they said these are the ones we'll fund and they're the ones we won't fund. Yeah, okay.
Yes, correct. Thank you.
Councillor Pervin.
Yes, I've got an alternative motion for this one. So basically, the council identified the following sites in priority order of the balance of the betterment funding associated with Cyclone Jasper. 1, Scoogall Road, change 005 to 1.4 kilometres. 2, Scoogall Road, 1.4 to 2.5 kilometres. 3, Hernan Road, 1.96 to 2.67 kilometres. 4, Warrabullen Road, 0.58 to 1.36. My reason is Mr. Goodman's advised that we probably possibly won't get through all of these. I see Hernan Road as my time in council, 6 years now, it's been a constant for my 6 years. I've constantly heard about it. Every time we get a wet season, that road's constantly washing away. Councillor Baines can probably speak to this as well.
Yes.
Yeah. But just also with that, the contribution from council for that section of roads, only 50,000. No, so that's my reasoning why I'd like to see the amendment, just with the numbering of the priority roads to change Hernan to go above Warrabullen Road.
Happy to second.
Any further comments? Councillor McLeod?
Speak against that? Yeah.
Well, I'll speak for it first as well, because I actually agreed that we're going to get more bang. If you're looking at the table there, you're going to get more bang for your buck if we do Hernan over Warrabullen, because Hernan's 373k and we've only got to extend 50k, and then Warrabullen is 455 and we've got to extend 300. So I just think bang for buck. It's not saying that we won't do it. We're going to still do Warrabullen. It's still up there. It'll be the next one done if it doesn't come in on this slot. So yeah, I just that sort of pricks my ear. Sorry. Yes. You're for or against Councillor Jessup?
Well, I just have a question because, well, I suppose, but I just have one question as to if you change the order, will all those works still get done by that date?
Through the chair. Changing the order, I don't think has any significant impact on the likelihood of delivery. But if I could, Mayor, just provide one clarification, because there may be some misunderstanding in the way that I've presented this. The table that's on which says road location, QRA betterment funding and CCRC funding, it really should have been more accurately represented as minimum CCR funding. So we are talking about 710 metres of works on Hernan Road. Our rule of thumb estimate is $1 million per kilometre. That's going to suggest that total project is going to be 710,000, of which QRA would fund in their indicative funding 373,000, which means while council, if you could deliver it for $420,000, CCRC would only have to provide $50,000. The more realistic contribution would be in the order of $330,000 or something like that. It's also, I just wanted to reiterate that all of the figures within that table, the QRA betterment funding and the CCRC funding, can be moved around. So it should be more looked at in terms of the overall project rather than individual roads. But it is what you can take out of that is that QRA's assessment was it met their what their standards more Hernan Road consistently than some of our other projects.
So in saying that, so does that go for all of the amounts in the CCRC funding column? So whereas you've got Warrabullen at 300,000, so that could extend out to 600,000.
All of those,
Yeah,
I expect to.
It's still better bang for your buck. Councillor McLeod, you've got.
Through the chair, I would like to see it stayed as the motion, and I'm happy to, I don't know how I can do that, but anyway.
We have to go
Full
to
being,
vote
full
first.
being that there is a ranking order for a reason, and I understand every councillor wants their road done but I do want to point out that Warrabullen Road was the old highway, and you can currently see now that Main Roads are actually fixing that area from that Cowley strip because it is a dangerous zone in the Bruce Highway and due to accidents and all the rest of it. So if that highway was to be shut down, Warrabullen Road is the only other road that transport can get through to get from either north to south, south to north. So I would, I'll can take to the vote, but I will be voting down the amended motion.
So we've got a mover and a seconder. So now it'll have to go to the vote. So those in favour?
Voting on the amended resolution.
The amended resolution, yes. Alan? No, you're against. So Alan's
Again,
still gone.
I'd like to see it
Councillor
stay.
Against, councillor McLeod against, and councillor Chewy against. So the motion has been carried.
Sorry, through the chair, that was to amend.
That was the.
It was amended. Yeah.
So they voted to amend.
Yes.
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
amend. Next.
An alternative motion, so Schuylkill, just to change.
Change
Schuylkill
order.
Road.
Move the motion or amend?
Yeah.
You've amended the motion. So if it's amended, then
Amendment motion.
It's amended.
yeah, so then they need to vote again. It's now the standing motion.
Okay, sorry.
That's then another vote. So we'll just do it.
Okay, so we need to vote again on the substantive motion. So those in favour of the motion.
We can't, sorry, through the chair, if we vote this down, we're voting against the whole thing.
So
So just want to make that clear.
so the first vote was to
It's amendment.
amendment.
Yeah, we went again.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
and it's
obviously
got
on the-
carried. So now we're going to vote for.
Whether we want the roads to be done, proceeding or not.
Which, what are we voting on right now? I'm not,
Sorry,
The
the
alternative.
the amended motion.
Yes.
yeah, the amended motion.
Amended motion.
Yeah,
We're voting on that.
Substantial, yeah.
Okay.
Can I get some clarification on the amended motion, please?
4 becomes 3.
And you've changed this Cheney John's Google Road, is that correct?
No. Everything remains, just number 3 becomes 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Hernan goes 3, Warrabullen goes 4.
But now it's the
whole
yeah, so
project itself to have the resealing done.
Yeah.
is everyone's vote was
I'm not sure why. I thought you didn't, it was never moved and seconded. I thought it was,
Yes.
no, the initial officer recommendation. I didn't think that was moved
No,
and
it wasn't.
seconded.
Because this is,
The officer recommendation wasn't moved and seconded,
Nick
There was an
must have
amendment
put
made.
an amended motion for.
amended motion.
becomes substantial because we voted on it.
But why do we need to vote again on it?
now the substantive. So if it was a new motion, completely different, but he's only sought to amend the officer's recommendation. We would
He's
typically-
amended it.
Yeah, through the chair, if it was substantially different and it was a motion moved, but are you going off the terminology that the councillor provided that he's amended that motion?
Has it been recorded? Has this been in motion now? Thank you.
Just for,
Is councillor Jessup happy that she voted or?
yeah, I just didn't see everyone's hands in that last vote, sorry.
Which one are we voting on?
Substantial.
The substantive,
Standing motion, which is 4 becomes 3.
hang on. Oh.
All the,
So the one that you put forward.
You've lost,
That's
you've lost,
done.
Yeah.
yeah, so sorry, through the chair, there's a amendment moved to that recommendation, which is that number 4
becomes 3.
becomes number 3 and number
Yeah.
3 becomes number 4. So that's now on the table as a substantive motion. We're just seeking a vote now on that. So if you vote against that, it's, wouldn't,
so
That's
what,
where
can
you'd be
someone
voting
then put in
against
another
entire-
amendment?
Vote against
Yes,
it,
you
you're
can if
voting
you wish to.
against the entire
The
recommendation.
entire project.
You got to vote.
Can put in a substanding motion, another one if you want to. Councillor Jessup.
so we've got a motion that needs to be voted on the table
First, yeah.
which is as per the recommendation, swapping 3 and 4. So that's,
So we're going
needs to go to the vote.
back to that one.
We voted on it.
Did everyone, I don't think Chris,
We did, yeah, we did vote. We voted on the substantive motion. I was just confused as to why we needed a substantive motion.
Against, councillor Chewy was against, and councillor Lynch.
Just the
That
amendment.
was the amendment, that's
Yeah.
right. So now we're going back to the so with the amendment in the motion, which is now the substantial, that 3 goes to 4 and 4 goes back to 3. So we need to vote on that again, okay?
Yeah, do
So
that.
vote on that. Okay, so those in favour, otherwise you're voting against. That's up to you. Okay, so it's been carried. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Goodman. Sorry about that.
This is,
Move on to planning services. So Mr.
You're out, Sri.
No,
7.1.
Miss Perkins,
7.1. I'll be reading
7.1.
As I declare.
7.1. Thank you, councillor Chewy.
Everybody? Morning, yes.
Good morning. Is it still morning?
Let us check.
Just.
Morning.
This morning, I'm here to present a report for an application for material change of use for indoor sport and recreation, which will be a gymnasium with ancillary coffee bar. So the application was prepared by Jaden Grassi for the establishment of the gym and the coffee bar within the Greater Mission Beach Tourism Precinct on land described as Lot 1 on GTP 70137 and Lot 0 on GTP 701110, which is situated at Shop 1, 3 David Street, Mission Beach, otherwise known as the Beach Town Shopping Village. The proposed development proposes to revitalise an existing vacant shop within Beach Town Shopping Village, and development facilitates a change of use from shop to indoor sport and recreation. Proposed gymnasium proposes to offer the following core services. So gym memberships, personal training, nutrition, wellness centre providing natural therapies, alternative and holistic health services, and a coffee bar. The gym is proposed to operate on a 24/7 basis with members having electronic entry controls and security cameras to monitor attendance.
The development is conditioned not to include group fitness classes to ensure any adverse impacts from the development are mitigated to surrounding properties. Beachtown Shopping Village was originally constructed in the heart of Mission Beach in 2 stages. Stage 1 was approved on the basis of providing 20 on-site car parks and having 15 on-street car parks allocated to the development located within Porter Promenade and David Street. Stage 2, which is where this subject site is located, was approved on the basis of providing an additional 20 on-site car parking spaces in the common property. So the common property is that lot 0 that I mentioned earlier. So this would ensure that Beachtown Shopping Village has a capacity for 40 on-site car parks for a total of 12 tenancies within the village. Since construction, Beachtown Shopping Village has had a variety of tenancy changes ranging from shops, food and drink outlets, office spaces, grocery stores and other uses consistent with a shopping centre. The applicant proposes that the common property car park access from Porter Promenade be used to provide off-street car parking for customers, with no less than 7 car park spaces provided for the business. It is noted the Cassowary Coast Regional Council Parking and Access Code prescribes the quantity of car parks required for indoor sport and recreation to be 7.5 car parks per 100 square metres of gross floor area. This would mean the proposed gym would require 15 car parks. In response to an information request, the applicant has provided a detailed analysis extracted from their existing business models based in Tully and Ingham. Analysis of the data provides an anticipated attendance profile for the proposed business with an average of 1.6 members expected during traditional business hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Peak visitation periods for the gym are expected between the hours of 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. The applicant submits that based on the peak periods of demand for the business and previous industry experience, it is believed that on-site parking proposed to be allocated within the common property will be more than sufficient due to the nature of the business operations, and the proposed development will have no greater impact on the common property car park than that of the previous approved use, being a shop or convenience store, which also, I might mention, had an allocation of 7 car parks. The applicant submits, the applicant, I lost where I was at. Yeah, submits that there, no greater impact on the car parking than that previous use. Therefore, they are happy to provide 7 car parks within the common property. And this application, because it involves the use of the common property, did involve consent from the body corporate of Beachtown Shopping Village. The application was code accessible, therefore public notification was not required for the proposed development. However, it triggered referral to the State Assessment Referral Agency for the site's proximity to the state-controlled road being Porter Promenade, from which the car park is accessed. SARA provided a response with no requirements in relation to the proposed development. The site is located within the urban footprint as indicated on the Far North Queensland Regional Plan and is generally consistent with the provisions of the Cassowary Coast Regional Council Planning Scheme. Therefore, the application for material change of use for indoor sport and recreation, gymnasium and ancillary coffee bar is recommended for approval subject to reasonable and relevant conditions shown in attachment 1 of the report. Any questions? Happy to answer.
I think you covered my question. My question was about car parking, but it looks to me that they've made reasonable.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the car park, as I said, is conditioned to have 7 car parks, and that's what the previous tenancy was had allocated in the common property. It's supermarket, correct.
And then whereas the gym doesn't operate.
It doesn't operate
I didn't
traditionally.
say it doesn't operate. It's going to operate 24/7, but I mean, the majority of people I wouldn't think would be there during business hours. Most people either go in the morning or the afternoon.
Through the chair, that's correct. That's the response they provided in their response to the information request when we asked for those details. So they did provide that analysis based on their existing business models when that bulk of their attendance is in those outside of traditional shop hour periods.
Okay, fair enough. Councillor McLeod.
Through the chair, I'm happy to move this recommendation. I think it's great that there is another business wanting to invest in that Mission Beach area that we're vitalised, and it shows confidence that, yeah, it was a good move. So I'm moving it.
Happy to second.
Thanks, councillor Baines.
Thank you.
Any further comments? Those in favour? Thank you.
Ms Perkins, great report.
Reports.
Thank you.
Morning, council. Stop order. Report 7.2 is application of reduction in infrastructure charges relating to MCU 250008. That was for a dual lock and short-term accommodation on lot 40 at RP 712080 and situated at 27 Porter Promenade in Mission Beach, which come to council not that long ago. There was 2 applications beside each other. And actually his site has commenced. So council in receipt of this request for this reduction of up to 100% to it. The reduction would result in a waiver of $20,956.80 discount on that. The proposed development complies with the eligibility and assessment criteria. You know, for the location, we approved it where it is. It's within that zone that we need this type of development in, especially with the village green being completed. So council, it's recommended for up to 100% reduction for that charge, and happy to answer any questions.
I'll move that one.
Move that, councillor Coburn. I'll second it. This is another good thing to see happening in that precinct. I mean, it's only a hop, skip and a jump away from the village green, and it's under construction, so we know it's going to happen. And yeah, great work.
Yeah, through the chair, it's good to see the commitment. Yeah, especially around that precinct.
Yeah, we spent all that money, so hopefully it's utilised properly. Those in favour? Thank you. 7.3.
Council 7.3 is RL 2529. It's a development application for reconfiguring of a lot, 1 lot into 23 lots on land described as lot 88 and CWL 2615 and situated Midjanoo Faluga Road, Midjanoo. Council will be fully aware this is around Crossing Road, O'Day Road. It's a balanced parcel. It's in the township zone village, local plan residential precinct. The original subdivision surrounding that is an old post-war subdivision. I think might have been 1927 or around that type that it went onto the ground. And this parcel this one's on was under cane, and those other lots in front of it were under cane for a number of years, and probably till maybe 10, 12 years ago, I think. Mr. Goodman, he'd remember, yeah, it's probably around that, that it got houses started to be built in that area, and council actually built the road, Crossing Road and O'Day Road, to give access to those properties. So I'll finish, Madam Mayor.
I'll let some finish.
All right. So the receipt is 1 into 23. The proposed development consists of that. It's a full civil, new road. O'Day Road needs to be extended. New access, new internal roads. We've got electrical services, lighting, stormwater drainage, so forth. Each allotment will have water infrastructure as well, telecommunications to it, and immediate road frontage, as I said. The development provides upgrade to those Midjanoo, just on the inside of Midjanoo Road, fronting this property, not on the opposite side. So Midjanoo Road frontage will have some stormwater drainage design there. And a combination of certain pips and pipe networks. So internally there'll be channel and curb, but when it hits Midjanoo Road, it'll come out into open drain system, as well as internally in the design. There's some easements that need to be taken and some internal open drainage networks to be done. As we know, stormwater's a discharge and overland flow in this area is a bit of a nightmare at the current time. So as part of that,
There's no sewage, man. It's all on-site sewage treatment. Our sewage doesn't go out. The sewer doesn't go out that far. Council, so it was code accessible. There's no public notification. The application did not require referral to the state government because of the lots in front of it. So if it was abutting, so this parcel went out and abutted the rail line and those types of things, it would have got referred, but it didn't. It's solely on the back nature there, fronting Midgenoo Road. So council, there's a number of conditions on it, and one's around a flood study and a few other things that need to be provided as part of the operational works. Because we need to assure with this development that it definitely doesn't increase that impact on the residents that are there at the current time. So we need to ensure that that's looked at, and we also need to look at drainage and so forth running off these lots, how that works with the internal road network and how that flows into Midgenoo Road and around through the open channel drains that are currently there back out to the railway and under the state control road. So council, look, I'm happy to answer any questions. It's recommended for approval, subject to reasonable relevant conditions.
So this is just the recommendation is just issued for the reconfiguring of those lots, basically. That's
Through the chair, yes. This is just for the concept design of the reconfig of the layout of that reconfig.
And then
Now we get an operational works application that comes in with the detail. So we get down to the detail of the electrical line and design of street poles, lighting, I should say, your stormwater drainage network, which is your internal drains, pipe work, open drain work, channel and curb, telecommunication, which is NBN, those water network. As I said, there's no sewer there.
So I'm presuming this will probably come back to us in a few months' time for infrastructure charge waves, reduction infrastructure charges as well. That's where we can probably
Voice councillor Purvis.
that's where we could probably consider at that stage if we wish to give a higher reduction or not, depending on what works could be needed down the path for road upgrades and stuff like that.
Through the chair, that's when you get that type of application, you sit down, review that, talk to the different departments in council, work out what needs to be done. There might be a water main upgrade that's required within that area to facilitate that, down the line. But when they do their network designs and so forth as part of the operational works, you understand what's involved there. And as I said, with council, it's up to 100%. Council might recommend 60%, 80%, depending on that component. But council officers will review that and provide a recommendation if that application comes in the future.
Today, we're just voting on going to 1 into 23. But
Yes, through the chair.
Councillor Baines, did you have something?
Probably not a comment, but I mean, there is always the opportunity for these sort of developments to put in for these infrastructure percentage reductions. But this area doesn't quite fit into some of the parameters around it. It's not on sewage.
Through the chair, that's reflected in the infrastructure charges that are issued.
Yep.
For it. So when you do the infrastructure charges notice, you break that down under the LGIP, and there's certain portions and percentages that are given to each of the networks. So when you got this type of development, I think under the LGIP, it might be a reduction of 33% off the current charge. So when you're in an area around, usually it's 29,000, close to 30,000. I think with the sewer removed, it comes back to more.
Through the chair, it's 17,000.
17 something.
And that's from
Percentage comes off, yeah.
It's just good to have that in your head so that when because it is a point that gets raised regularly. And we're not even saying that that application will come forward. We're not predicting the future. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Chewy.
So, through the chair, councillor Purvis said this might come back in a couple of months. That's potentially optimistic. Is there a time frame for this?
Yeah, through the chair, they've got 3 months to lodge the reduction infrastructure charges.
Okay, so apologies there. Thank you.
Yeah, we changed the policy.
Yeah.
Chair, remember we changed the policy and include that because we were getting those applications come in 12 months later or 15 months later. We you know, if people are willing to do the work and go forward, well, we want that application lodged sooner than later to, you know, be able to deal with the infrastructure agreement that's required as part of that waiver. And that 3 months is being put into that policy, which we voted on.
Thank you for that.
Look, and I think this is a great proof that there is some investment going on in the area. And again, so this is subject to that flood study, right? And is this the last of these types of developments that's been to progress in that sort of area like that? This is a historical one.
Through the chair, because of the zoning, it is. So it is in that village local plan, residential precinct. It had that zoning, so they could lodge this. But anywhere within the region, a person can lodge an application to override the planning scheme.
Yeah.
But they've got to have a basis of a number of different reports supporting that application. So, yeah, you can still not have the zoning and you can go down that path.
Yeah.
It takes considerable amount of I suppose, reports and resources and costs to do that if you wish to go down that path. But there's nothing stopping you from lodging that application, Madam Mayor.
I just asked because we're losing substantial amount of area of good quality agricultural land to such things. And I mean, we don't want to stop development, but at the same time, I guess we got to look at the whole picture. But yeah, thanks for that.
Through the chair, that's what we will be doing. You know, the planning scheme starts now, and yeah, so those discussions will be entailed as we workshop through our new draft and to go out to the community and consult with those guys moving forward. So yeah, so this parcel is the last, and that'll close out that area. If any further changes to zoning and so forth will come as we get the draft regional plan, which is about to be released and through our planning scheme.
Okay. All right. Okay. Very good. Any, Mr. Councillor Littlemore?
Happy to move the recommendation. Me.
Seconder? Irvin? Those in favour? Harry, thank you. Okay, for you, the 7.4.
Council, this is an application for reduction in infrastructure charges relating to MCU 2535. Which was a material change used for a dual lock on land described as lot 1000 on SP 335154. It's a future lot 620, which has been titled. That has been signed by council, by the CEO, and sent to Titles Office. It's just waiting a registration of that. That's the new 13 lots along Elliott Road that have been created. So, yeah, so the second stage of another stage, which we're going for a pre-start tomorrow for that third stage to commence. So council, this is dealing with that request for 100% waiver, reduction to infrastructure charges for that dual occupancy. As we know, with a dual lock, anything on the land. So you got 2 units. The lot itself, the land itself has a credit. So that credit takes out one of the charges. So when you get 2, you're taking out 1 in charge for 1. So the credit's there. So the charge for that was 29,339.55 cents for that additional unit. The request is to reduce that. So the development applies with the eligibility and assessment criteria and therefore is recommended for that 100% reduction in infrastructure charges to be approved by council. Yeah, so the works there have got to be completed as per that MCU approval, which was done under delegation by the 3rd of September 2028. So we've got a few of those duplexes over in that first stage. Yeah, so this is that next 13 lots. So that'll be the first. This is the first application we got in that. So
it's the bodies.
Very happy to move the potential 100% reduction of this project. And again, it's another great exhibit of the potential and the growth of our region. It's a good piece of work.
Not everyone wants to be in a house, so it's good to have the opportunity to have duplexes and stuff there,
100%.
so.
It's
Well done.
specification and it's.
Further comments? Second up? Do we? Favour? Harry, thank you very much. Move on to 7.5.
Oh, that's right.
Council 7.5, our last report today, is MCU 2525. It's material change of use for a dwelling unit, food and drink outlet, cafe and office on land described as Lot 1 on RP 713451 and Lot 810 on I2812, situated 110 Rankin Street in Innisfail. It's up there on the corner across from the hospital. Council. It used to be the doctor's surgery for years and years. The place is looking, it needs a revamp. So it's nice to see that this application's come in and we'll go from there. So the cafe, at the current time, it's a residence. So the rear part of the property will remain a residence, which used to be probably caretakers back in the day. Which will remain that at the current time. In the front is being broken down. One side is the food and drink outlet. That's on the southern side with a outdoor dining area, a little cafe in there in the kitchen and so forth. On the northern side of the building, as we can see in the plans, it has an office. So it's got a conference room and so forth in there, through access through there. There's two accesses. There's a pathway in from the street on the southern side, and there's a set of stairs on the front side fronting across from the hospital. So it's nice to see a mixed use type development come and for that building to like that. So it's in the township zone, Innisfail local plan residential choice precinct. It was impact accessible council. There was 0 submissions on that received by council during that period. It didn't go to the state, didn't trigger. It's located in the urban footprint for that type of use and generally consistent with that and the provisions of the council planning scheme. It's recommended for approval, subject to reasonable relevant conditions, some conditions, and as we know, this type of development will lead on and needs a food licence, needs a trade waste application, those types of things, because it's on sewer. With that, you know, as top of that, we got 8 car parks. Another couple of conditions around it is the retaining wall behind the car park needs to be reviewed and looked at the moment in between that property and the neighbouring house. So that's been conditioned to come in as a report as part of that building stage. Council, yeah, so we've got the 8 car parks there. One of them's disabled. The access to that's internally, appropriate ramps and so forth will be designed as part of the building stage to access the cafe and that office facility. Council, as I said, it's recommended for approval subject to conditions. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? No?
Gonna move.
Move councillor Baines.
Second, Chair.
Second. Those in favour? Favour, thank you very much.
Thank you, council.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bordings. On the cloud. Keep the screen on me.
James, how are you?
Yeah, just look at us every day.
Is Vic?
Under 8.1 petition and the CEO will present.
Thank you. And through you, Chair, council's received a petition from the Cassowary Coast Graziers Association. This was received on the 15th of October 2025. The petition contained 298 signatures and the petition stated request for council to be transparent with rate settings for local graziers. This report is drafted to receive the position and to make some comment. I might make the comment first prior to going to the recommendation. So council's been engaging with industry and in particular with the Cassowary Coast Graziers Association for several years regarding this issue. In accordance with the Local Government Act 2009, general rates are intended to fund services, facilities and activities that benefit community as a whole, not specific ratepayer categories. Differential general rating enables councils to recognise differing land uses and impacts on infrastructure, align with strategic objectives, rural sustainability, economic growth, and promote fairness and equity across the community. Council considered these factors when adopting the 25-26 budget, which included a 36.66% reduction in the rate in the dollar across primary production categories, including category 26 primary production livestock. Council at special budget meeting 25 June 2025 adopted its revenue policy. The policy in section 4.1 covers the levying of rates and charges and provides the following. Council will apply the following principles in setting rates and charges. Seek to maximise revenue from direct user charges, grants and subsidies, contributions and other sources. Transparency in setting rates and charges by communicating the Council's charging processes and each ratepayer's responsibilities under the rating system. Operating a rating system whereby land is categorised into rates categories developed by Council for differential rating purposes by having regard to such factors but not limited to actual and potential demands placed on Council, location and use of land, the unimproved and site value of land and the land's capacity to generate revenue. Ensuring the levying system is simple and streamlined to administer. Timing the levy of rates to ensure a sustainable cash flow for operations of the Council and to spread the burden of ratepayers over the financial year. Flexible payment arrangements for all ratepayers, and acknowledging that with an extensive rural road network and the demand for upgrades to support industries such as sugar, grazing, horticulture and aquaculture, Council expects properties located in these rural areas to contribute appropriately to the general rate revenue base. In addition, Council recognises the broader community services, including recreation and sporting facilities, swimming pools, community and cultural venues, libraries, welfare services, parks, cemeteries, public amenities and civic buildings, are services that also should be funded collectively through general rates. At the local government meeting on 27 June 2024, Council considered the recommendations of the Rating Advisory Committee following public consultation. The committee was established to provide a platform for ratepayers and community members to offer feedback and make recommendations on Council's general rates and special levies structure ahead of developing the 24-25 annual budget and for consideration throughout the current Council term. With the support of an independent facilitator from the Mead Perry Group, the committee reviewed the existing rating structure and delivered a conceptual position and recommendations for the future of general rating at Cassowary Coast Regional Council. Council resolved to implement some recommendations, however, considered the primary production recommendation outlined in the Rating Advisory Committee findings and recommendations report progressively throughout its current term, which runs from 2024 to 2028. Council has progressively considered the rate in the dollar for the primary production category with the below downward movement since 2010-2011. So for the 2010-2011 financial year, the rate in the dollar was 0.41866540. 2016-27, it was up as high as 0.0426817. In 2020-21, it was brought down to 0.2843491. And by 25-26, as highlighted, it is reduced to 0.018498831. Council have undertaken considerable modelling throughout the budget process across the primary production categories and considered models that yield across categories. The outcome of this can be found in Council's Revenue Statement 25-26. Under the Local Government Act 2009, general rates are not linked to individual usage or benefit, but are intended to fund services, facilities and activities that benefit the community as a whole. This includes infrastructure maintenance, public amenities, waste management and other essential services to support both urban and our rural communities. The use of differential rating allows Council to set different rates for different land use categories, such as residential, commercial or grazing. In recognition of the varying characteristics and demands of each sector, however, this does not in turn turn this system into a strict user-pay model. By its nature, property-based taxation can result in some ratepayers contributing more or less than the value of the services they directly receive. Differential rating aims to address some of these imbalances, but they cannot eliminate them entirely. It's important to understand that councils are not required, nor is it always practical, to directly link the amount of rates paid to the commercial return or services used by individual properties. Rather, differential rates reflect broader community benefit, land use and capacity to contribute. Council engages in extensive budget deliberations each year. These processes involve reviewing data across all rating categories and considering factors such as financial sustainability, rising costs, infrastructure needs and the community expectations. While Council does not base rates on a fixed data set for each category, It takes into account a wide range of economic, demographic and operational factors. Council acknowledged that any increase in rates can place pressure on property owners, including graziers, and Council is mindful of these impacts. At the same time, managing rising costs driven by inflation, ageing infrastructure and growing service demand remains a significant challenge. Council is currently reviewing service levels across departments to ensure resources are used efficiently and equitably. Council appreciate the ongoing dialogue with the Cassowary Coast Graziers Association and will continue to consider the diverse needs of all ratepayers as part of decision-making process. I think it is worth just stating that that this council does meet directly with the peak bodies for our primary producers, including bananas, cane and graziers. There is a recommendation there, and that is that council receives the petition titled "Request the Council to be transparent with rate settings for local graziers." 2, continues to consider all relevant economic, legislative, community and operational factors, together with the recommendations of the Rating Advisory Committee report in the development of future annual budgets. And 3, provides a formal response as outlined today verbally to the petition as outlined within this report.
Very good. Thank you. Councillor Jessup.
I'm happy to move.
Move it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be the second, Chair.
Councillor Littlemore, happy to second. With the comments, aye. Aye. Favour, carried, thank you. General business. They're going to be general business. Councillor Tui, I did look at you.
I know.
I looked around the room.
I was hoping somebody else would go forward, but anyway,
Sorry.
I'm here to. There's just a couple of things. I'll be very quick, I promise you. Tomorrow is Day for Daniel Day, so I encourage people to wear red if they can to acknowledge the significant work that the Morecambe Foundation has done to protect our children. So it's an important one. School Savvy is coming up. This is another great project which council have been part of. It's also going to be a pop-up shop in Tully this year, next year in January. So this helps families that are struggling with the costs of back to school for their students. If your kids have grown out of their uniforms, please consider donating to School Savvy. They get washed and then people can buy them forward. So and donations can be made at Vinnie's. I'm hoping in our council offices, Centrecare in Tully. So it's a great cause. It's very popular in Innisfail, and it's fantastic that we're having a pop-up shop in Tully as well this year. And I would just, with respect and with permission of the family, like to pass on the condolences of myself and of council on the passing of Mr. Lackey Rick. Lackey was an instrumental member of the community of Mission Beach, pioneer of the area, integral in the Lions community, volunteered with Meals on Wheels, helped a lot with the school, and was integral in a lot of community projects. So on behalf of the councillors and the staff, I would like to pass on my condolences to the Rick family.
Thank you. Same. Councillor Jessup.
Yes, thank you. Big event coming up this following week now on the 5th of November, which is next Wednesday, for the Tully 100 centenary. It's going to be a big afternoon into the evening. There will be music, free sausage sizzle and soft drinks, and mega prizes to give away. So BYO chair, they're asking people to bring their own chair. It's going to be at the Tully Mill Meeting Hall, and lots of fun, lots of giveaways. Be there, people. Support it. Thank you.
Any further general business? Councillor Baines.
Thank you, Chair, for your indulgence. Of course, and I preempted this at the last meeting, but on the 11th of the 11th is Remembrance Day. That is coming up across the region, warming up for all of the events across the region will be at around, I would suggest 10:30, because the ceremonies will be held on the dot, the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month, and I look very much forward to having all of the community turning out and showing respect. Just as a personal piece, and I'm not making this everyone has to come down and have a look-see, but the Queensland Special Air Service Association are making a travel order to come and have their celebration with us at the Innisfail RSL this year. People know that I have a close association with the Special Air Service through my father and uncle's service, and there were several other gentlemen within our region who, one of them down in Cardwell, who have been involved in that service. But the service of all service personnel is to be remembered on the day, and please turn up, show some respect, and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to recognise the Lions delegates that'll be at the convention this weekend at Mission Beach. So they're coming to support our community. So hope they all have a great weekend. Okay, we will move into closed session. Meeting will now be closed to the public in accordance with the Local Government Act 254J13. D, rating concessions, legal advice obtained by the local government or legal proceedings involving the local government, and negotiations relating to commercial matter involving local government for which a public discussion would be likely to be prejudiced to the interests of the local government. Have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Pervin, seconded by Councillor Chewy. Those in favour? Thank you. Yep. That brings us to the conclusion of the meeting. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you, Chair.